Hello everyone, my name is Dima Bukwa. I would like to tell you about our new 3-volume book set. The set is called Superpralinarium. These 3 volumes are about the design of chocolate bonbons we have been working on for the past 2 years. The author is Andrei Dubovic. The book set is brand new. It's not a reissue and has nothing to do with our previous publications. As I have already said, the book set is published in 3 volumes. Each book has its own name. The first one is called Super Shine. The second book is called Super Technique. And the third book is called Super Details. The books will be sold together as a 3-volume set. The first volume is called Super Shine. What is Super Shine? It is the shine we talk about in the books. It is the shine we will teach you. Your chocolates will super shine just like the chocolates on the cover do. So, let's open the book. With this bright red energetic shot, it hits us in the eyes. It's an end paper made of color paper. Every book has a slogan or a certain narrative thread which tells us what the book is about. This particular book contains an introductory part, a chapter on tools and equipment, a chapter on basic skills you will need to hone to be able to recreate molded chocolates, a chapter on fillings, which is a supplementary material, and a chapter on a couple of designs. There are 2 approaches to the work with these books. You can use it as a guideline. The books and materials are designed in such a way so that you could take it to the kitchen, place on the worktop, and follow step-by-step guides. Or you can work with it in a classical way. I mean that you can just read it. The first thing that is immediately apparent is that the book is made in a different way. It is not an ordinary book. It is not what we get used to holding in our hands. It is not like our previous publications or what we've done before. It's been 2 years since we published our first book. We've gained some experience and become more confident in ourselves. I've managed to unlock my somewhat potential in design and to create the book the way I see it, the way I understand it. As a result, you can enjoy a large font size, large letters, texts wrapped around images, unusual margins, narrow at the edges and wide in the middle. Page numbers are not where we get used to seeing them. It has to do with the fact that I'm trying to reinterpret a classic layout of a book and to create the new classic, which, to my mind, should become the classic of the future and is already the classic in my world. The book begins with the introduction. I wrote the introduction and I'm trying to get you to understand what is going on in these books. The first chapter is the chapter on tools and equipment you will need to work with the chocolates. The main tools are an airbrush and an air compressor. Andrei will tell you literally everything he knows about all airbrushes he owns. He'll show you how to disassemble an airbrush and why. Then I will suggest taking an airbrush, clean sheets of white paper, and follow a step-by-step guide. You will be able to check how the parameters of your airbrush can affect your spray pattern and learn about your opportunities. You will find out how pressure and the position of a needle affect the spray. Why do we do this? We do it to ensure that you won't experience a lack of understanding when you get down to coloring of molds. To ensure that you will understand why your airbrush sprays not the same way it sprayed yesterday. And if it does spray differently, to ensure that you could at least understand why. Then Andrei tells about his compressor. He explains how he takes care of polycarbonate molds and how he washes them. It is worth mentioning that all the aspects are very important. It is important to understand how your airbrush sprays paint. It is important to understand how your compressor works. It is important to understand how you wash your molds and why you do it this way. For the sake of Super Shine. At the end of the chapter, we touch upon additional tools we will use in the process: thermometers, paintbrushes, etc. Here is this graphic trick we use. We underline important details in red, as if a model student who's very attentive and practice-oriented took the notes. So, this is how his notes would look like. Each chapter ends with a module on mistakes, made by a student who followed a step-by-step guide. So, this person doesn't know what to do with it and asks a question. These are the questions we have collected during the year of our Superpralinarium course. They are the real problems our students faced. You will learn a lot from these problems because they encompass real experiences. You will learn from other people's mistakes. The second chapter is crucial. It tells us about basic things: how to color cocoa butter, how to temper it, how to color a mold. We have divided the making of molded chocolates into stages. Andrei describes each stage in Chapter 2 of Volume 1 in as much detail as possible. He won't focus on such basic things in the chapters to come. We assume that you will learn this module, Chapter 2, by heart. If you follow the instructions in Chapter 2 and practice a couple of times, you'll free yourselves from the following questions. Why do my chocolates not shine? Why do my chocolates not come out of the mold? Why do my chocolates not look like yours? This chapter is the only one where Andrei makes chocolates from scratch. He colors the mold, fills it with the chocolate and the filling, seals the shells, and unmolds the chocolates. We omit this description in the following chapters and explain the design part only. Andrei did his best to describe everything in as much detail as possible. As a designer, I try to show everything in details and place emphasis appropriately. We show how to hold a mold when we tap it against the worktop and how to hold a scraper when we seal shells with chocolate. We explain why we do it this way and not otherwise. We wanted to make sure nothing is overlooked. The chapter ends with a module on questions and answers. Well, actually, the chapter ends with beautiful chocolates, just as all chapters do. We hope that your chapters will end with beautiful chocolates as well. We analyze student works and explain interesting cases. Some questions contain photos, some don't, but the text describes the problem in details. This photo shows tempered and poorly tempered cocoa butter. The third chapter of the second volume is about feelings. It is a supplementary chapter. It is supplementary, but very cool. Andrei shares basic concepts of cooking the main types of fillings. He fills the shells with these fillings at the end. He shows how to combine them. We do not claim that this book is the cornerstone in the world of fillings for molded chocolates. Fillings are described in the supplementary chapter. But there are no chocolates without fillings, so Andrei shares everything he knows and is sure about fillings in this book. The chapter ends with a module on recipes. I really like how they are presented. The recipes are short, just like everywhere. Small photos show the designs where Andrei uses such fillings. Each chapter ends with a couple of backstage photos. We did it on purpose, so that he could better understand and feel the atmosphere behind the making of this material. The fourth chapter is the first chapter in a 3-volume edition that is devoted to a particular design, and the last chapter in the first book. Such chapters begin with a list of equipment and ingredients you will need. The background photo is not fictional. You can see the colors of colored cocoa butter used in the chapter. Then we describe the technique. How to color a mold, for example. We're working on several designs which will look differently in the end, but will be created in a similar fashion. The number of photos in 3 volumes is now in the thousands. We wanted to create a book that will feel as though you visited an individual masterclass, asked questions, and saw everything from all sides. As I have already said, the chapter ends with the photos of the beautiful chocolates, as always. If a chapter doesn't end with the chocolates, it ends with a module on mistakes. The book ends with acknowledgements and special thanks. Here you can find the names of our students, whose works and questions you can see in the books. When you finish reading the book, you'll see the last page with a masthead. Here we ask you to share the knowledge you've gained, to make the world an even more beautiful place. The same slogan is on the last page. If you've been in this business for a while, if you work with chocolates, then the second volume will become your main workbook. It contains the description of the main designs and techniques. We assume that your chocolates shine like that. Now, your goal is to learn how to make such chocolates so that everyone would look at them and simply could not believe that they are made by a human. The content of the book is made the following way. These are the designs and the page numbers where they can be found. And these are text chapters and sub-chapters in case you need to find a specific stage in the working process on a certain design. The chocolates you see are the content of the second volume. It contains 6 chapters on designs and different techniques. The chapters look just like the last chapter in the first book. Very detailed, little text, lots of photos. To be honest, it is the main idea in the presentation of the material. Since everything we do is very detail-oriented, it is sometimes easier to show the details in a photo than to explain it in a ton of words. We cook and learn how to control the spray and use unusual tools in the creation of special effects for our chocolates. We work with various art tools and different types of paintbrushes. The further we move, the more difficult the chapters. Here you will start combining the techniques shown at the beginning of the book. Somewhere in the middle of the second volume, Andrei starts working with an airbrush. But he uses it not as a tool for coloring or supplying the paint, but as a tool for supplying clean air and distribution of the cocoa butter in the cavities. It is one of his signature techniques, and we've tried to describe it in as much detail as possible. It begins with a chapter called An Airbrush as a Blowing Instrument. In this book, Andrei creates a collection of chocolates where he shows how the technique is being born from a drop on an uncolored chocolate to a complex pattern obtained by mixing colors. This is the result of the lesson. Then Andrei continues developing the technique. He basically does the same thing but gets completely different results. He makes a black and white version of the design, a multicolor version of the same design, a design with no colorings at all, but adds various special effects, some background highlights. This chapter is the last one in the book Super Technique. Like the previous book, it ends with the analysis of mistakes and issues, backstage photos, and special thanks. Never give up. This is what we want to tell people who will work on the designs from the book. You won't be able to recreate them from the first try, or second, or even third try. But when you give it hundreds of tries, the chocolates will be even better than on the cover. But if you don't just read the books, but learn how to make all the designs, you'll have only one thing to do afterwards: to dive even deeper into the details and continue combining the techniques shown in the books. And this is what the third book is about: Super Details. This book is about details. The content looks the same as in the previous book, the pictures to quickly navigate to the required page and to find something real quick. And the text. The third book begins with the design eye. It is a good example of the combination of the techniques shown in the previous books. In fact, we do the same things we did before, but create a completely unique design. And again, we do 4 types of eyes in one lesson. As a result of your work with the chapter, you'll have beautiful eyes. If you won't, I'll explain why. The shine of the eyes is not discussed in this book, because they are supposed to shine after the first book. You can notice that the mistakes made by the students in this book are so specific that an unprepared reader would ask, "What's the problem here?" I mean, it's how it's supposed to be if you work with the books in the right order. What comes next is a vivid example of details, creation of your own stencils. It is the work with the text. Here are the links to the stencils you can download and cut in a laser cutting studio. This is probably one of Andrei's signature techniques. This particular design combines a number of techniques. If you have a closer look at this design, you'll see how much attention it was given. The shadow is behind the text. If something goes wrong, we will explain why. As always, it is the middle of the book, but we are close to the end of the 3-volume book set. Andrei shows his vision of how to work with a mold he designed himself. This chapter is devoted to the work with details. After you have made all the designs in this book, you'll most likely feel like a jeweler. The last chapter of the 3rd book is the chapter on velveting molded chocolates. At the end of the book, there are some materials we won't focus on right now. It is the bonus content you'll be able to check out and find out how to make a couple more chocolate types. We hope that after you're done with the books, you'll understand Andrei's and our vision better. You'll be able to recreate what you see on these covers. You'll grow. Perhaps you'll rethink what you've done before and share your results. Share your results with us and the world. These books do not have augmented reality and do not require an application to work with them, as in the previous edition. I can't say for sure whether it will appear in the future. I can't tell you the price right now. The books will be available for sale at the beginning of 2021. But again, I can't tell you the exact date. Despite the fact that you see 3 ready-made books, we still have a lot on our plate. We will deliver worldwide as always and think about 2-3 drops of the book set this year. These books are the best project of my life to date. I want to thank Andrei, who entrusted the work on this project to me. I want to thank my beloved wife and Andrei's beloved wife for helping us a lot in this project. I want to thank everyone who supported our initiative with the first book and who continues supporting it when we reissue something. In fact, this is the 2nd book to be released. And the journey we've made over the last year is actually very cool. It's awesome. It is the journey that allowed us to make such a beautiful project, such a great product. Never stop if you're creating something. Share your results. Send your questions regarding these books and wait for the official announcement when the books are available for sale. These books are for reading. They have lots of... The books are for reading, haha. How can I not frown? What the heck is going on here? No support from my beloved wife. You're working on a book for your entire lifetime, and here we go. You can't just sit and record a video.
И блок косяков тоже имеющими непосредственную текстуру.
They have the texture and the stripe-like button. Sounds like a description of our cat. Right, the chocolates that are not shiny but fluffy. And well, well. You'll find out about the vision and what Andrei has decided to do with them.